Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome back to today's tutorial. On this tutorial, I'll be cutting and sewing this beautiful dress. If you want to see how to do this, keep watching. So what I'm doing here is just fold my fabrics so I can cut the top part of my dress. So I'm taking 0.5 inch all round, then I'm taking 1 inch on the side, that'll be my seam allowance, and 0.5 inch is more like my joining allowance. I'll repeat the same thing for all the pattern pieces I have. I also did the same thing for the back. The only difference is that I added 1 inch for my zipper allowance. I'm also going to do the same thing for my down part of our dress. I'm going to add 1 inch on the side and 0.5 inch at the down for joining allowance. Half inch allowance right here and 1 inch allowance there. For the back, I'm just going to place the front on another fabric, then add 1 inch zipper allowance. This is all I have right now. So for the upper part, I'll be using the same fabric as the lining as well. Now for the down ruffle, we are going to minus our skirts from our full length, and whatever we got left, it is what we measure for the length of our ruffle. For how full you want your garter, it totally depends on you. For me, I used 1 yard and 10 inches. So what I'm doing here is just taking out all the pattern paper, and then I'm going ahead to mark it with my chalk because it was difficult to tell the front from the back. Then you go ahead to notch everywhere that is needed to be notched, and then I'll be joining my center front to my side front with 0.5 inches, and I'll do the same for the lining piece as well. I'll also repeat this step for the back as well. Well, you already know what we're doing next after we join our fabrics. Just iron properly. So trust me, it's a lot sweeter to iron and sew because everything looks so good after that. So now I went ahead to notch my under bust area and then use my bust ball to iron out my bust area. Guys, it's called the tailor ham. Yeah, but this is not exactly tailor ham, but that's what I'm supposed to call it. So yeah. So when I iron, I like to open up my seams and iron in between it. Now we're going to join our lining to our main piece for the front. We're going to join the top part first and then top stitch at the lining. We're going to repeat the same thing for the back as well. After you do that, the next thing you're supposed to do is iron. The reason we top stitch the lining, so the lining does not bulge out, it's staying all flat. Now we're just going to top sit the down part of our top to hold on to the lining and the fabric. So I'm just marking out my zipper point so I'll know where to stitch from. So I'll be stitching from the hip point to the end of our skirt. If you already noticed, I just iron for ease because it is easier to iron and sew. I'll be sew and iron sha. So now I'm going to join my top pattern to my down pattern for the front, and then I'll do the same for the back as well. So after doing that, we are going to join the front and the back together. Remember our seam allowance we took was 1 inch, so we are going to take 1 inch and then sew it all the way down like I'm doing in the video. I literally just poked myself and it was so painful. Turn it inside out to reveal the rough part, that's the back, and then you're going to sew your zip to your zipper allowance like I'm doing in the video. Please watch. I'm just taking my zipper allowance, so I'll put the zip exactly on the zipper allowance. Now this is exactly what you should have. As you can see, our zip is still longer than the dress, so we are going to cut it off. Just follow what I'm doing and you'll be fine. Now you go ahead and gather the down part and gather it so it will match the size of the V shape like I'm doing in the video. This is just me checking if it matches, and then I'll also do the same thing for the back as well. Now I'm marking the midpoint of our gathers so we can pin it on our skirt. After you have sewn it with your half inch joining allowance, now you're going to close it up on the side On both sides, you sew it all the way to the down, 1 inch as the sewing allowance. So I used 15 inches as the length of our sleeve and 44 inches as the wideness for the sleeves. Now you are going to cut out two pieces, one for the left and one for the right. Now before I trace my armhole, I'll come down by 2 inches from the top of our sleeve for our elastic casing. And on the side, I'll come in by 1 inch for our sewing allowance. And now we are going to go ahead and trace out our armhole. After doing that, we are going to fold in the top part and the down part for our elastic casing. And repeat the same steps for your other sleeve as well. For the elastic length, I just placed it around my shoulder to make sure that it's not too free and it's not too tight. Now we are going to pass our elastic through our elastic casing. I'll do the exact same thing for the down as well, and then I'll sew out my seam allowance. After doing that, I'm going to match up our armhole seams and then I'll go ahead and sew it like I'm doing in the video. Now you repeat the same thing for the other side as well and you have a complete sleeves. So we're going to finish up our hemming allowance and we'll be done with our dress. So thank you for watching to this point. Please do not forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. And remember, stay beautiful. I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.